could you please explain, like, why is it holographic breathing? Not only where the name came from, but why does it work? Why is that a good name for it?
So holographic breathing came through. I could feel the way it came through was that I was working with the maxilla, because I'd been told that my maxilla was pulled back and I had an underbite. The jaw was slightly forward, or I didn't really have an underbite. The teeth were coming up behind the front teeth, so it was impinging on the TMJs. That was tight, and it was tight through the whole body. So I was breathing into this area to bring the maxilla forwards, just with my normal breath, and it was becoming effective. I was seeing a cranial therapist, and the more I was working with it, the more it was opening. And as I was working that, I could feel the connection into the brain and the cranial fluid. As soon as I started breathing into these sinuses, it would also drop back into the brain and the cranial fluid. And that would release, and it again was helping a bit with the Lyme disease and through the whole body. And after a while, that became quite tense. Just the energy was going back there, but it wasn't releasing. It was kind of building up and building up. And I was meditating, and I was sitting, and I was just trying to do it softer and softer to find a way through. And it became quite painful. And there was this audible pop and flash of light. It wasn't just that it released in the brain, this channel came through and it all released, and all that build up of energy just rushed through my face, and my teeth almost felt like they were coming out their sockets as it gapped between the upper and lower jaw. And all of that energy where I've been working here and in the brain, it all grounded into the jaw, which just lit up bright red. And in that moment, the lips got pulled together, and just as a relaxed seal, the tongue got pulled flat up on the roof of the mouth. On the in-breath, the jaw started opening. On the out-breath, the jaw started closing. I'm thinking, what is happening now? I thought, that feels amazing. And what I'd been trying to do here, I no longer had to try and do it, because with this subtle motion that started in the jaw, this all started breathing on its own along with that, and up through the eyes and through the brain and through the whole body. And I looked I could feel this very dark, deep energy in the jaw, like of the hara. And then this was more the emotional body, and then this was more the intellect and brain. And as they came together, they opened the unison and the crown chakra. And I looked in an anatomy book, and it showed it. I didn't really know what this looked like inside, but the maxillary sinus, if you take a cut through the face, these look like a pair of lungs. The roof of the mouth is the same dome as the diaphragm. This becomes the pelvis. So you've got like the pelvis, the tongue is the abdomen, roof of the mouth, diaphragm, lungs. This looks like a heart. You can even see the 4 ventricles, and the eyes just relate back into the brain. So I could see that picture of the body in the face. So that was like a holographic relationship between the face and the whole body. And then working with the bones of the face and the bones of the cranium, I could see how the different bones in the face related to the bones in the cranium, and that same picture imprinted on the cranium. And then the different areas of the brain relating in the same way. So it's this pattern of the body getting imprinted on smaller and smaller levels, and then how that worked through the organs, the different levels in each organ, and how they came together in groups that had that same image. And then down to every cell. Every cell has a bone structure, every cell has a musculature, every cell has a fluid system, every cell has organs, every cell has a brain. So with this breathing, it opened up a holographic relationship through my whole body, where all of these different holograms were relating and talking to each other and was opening through this subtle form of breathing. That was somehow the key that was opening up all of those holographic relationships. If in a hologram you have the sheet of glass and the light is shone through the glass, say the picture is of a woman, you break that sheet of glass in half and you shine the light through it, you don't get half a woman, you still get a whole woman. However small you break that sheet, you get the same image. So it was like that. It was a holographic relationship through my whole body that was enacted by holographic breathing. And I could see how that, as it wasn't just through the body, it was connecting to the higher self. It was connecting to the universe. It was connecting to the earth. It was connecting to nature. You can see it in the flowers, how they all open in this same holographic way. So it was a natural form of breathing. It's not an exercise. Holographic breathing intrinsically connects to a cellular memory in ourselves. It's not something you're doing. And it opens, it's like a key in a lock that opens up holographic relation. And while I was doing this, I was sounding it out. I had a very good cranial therapist because she could feel what was happening in my system. I said, look, I'm going to do this breathing. I'm not going to tell you what I'm sensing, but I'm going to try it. You tell me what you sense. So I'd be doing holographic breathing and this would happen and that would happen. And I'd say, well, what did you feel? And she would describe it exactly back to me, what I was actually sensing. So I knew it was real, all of these different relationships and energies opening. And I was saying, well, I'm going to call it a holographic something, a holographic breathing, holographic breath, breathing, hologram. And I said, holographic breathing. And she said, yeah, that's it. So that's what I called it, holographic breathing.
Could you elaborate a bit more on, like, so you were really breathing into the maxilla and into those sinuses, and it sort of built up an energy that grounded all of a sudden?
That is just what happened. I think what it really was, this is an emotional level and a fluid level, and it was building in the brain in an emotional level and fluid level. And so I was just working on that level, and I think it wasn't just a simple release, it was divine in a way. You know, it was kind of meant to happen. So a whole thing came through at the same time. But I think that just built up, and it was like lightning. The force and intensity it drove through it reminded me of lightning hitting the earth, and that is how it came through into the jaw. And just that huge amount of energy just awoke that cellular memory, and it just started. But it's not just a physical and energetic thing. There is a whole divine intelligence behind it. There, you know, in the webinars that I teach, this wonderful spiritual energy comes in. The screen just melts. These beings and energy just arrives, and in a way I'm teaching a spiritual thing as well, which I know nothing about. The people in the webinars feel it and come back, but there's that kind of, there's an intelligence and a healing and spiritual energies, and I've always been aware of that, because at one, I knew it was natural because I would be doing it in my sleep as well as when I was awake. But also when I would wake up, I'd realised in my sleep I'd been having conversations with these different guides and the people behind it, whatever they wanted me to understand. Because I think when I was awake, I was just too stubborn to listen to them in a way, but while I was asleep, I was open to talking with them. And that becomes more and more apparent that there's a spiritual quality behind it, and that in a way is protecting me and helping me all of the time. And if I speak of it in the groups, it just gets stronger. And normally the last 10 minutes, it kind of works through the webinar. Normally the last quarter of an hour or so, it is more just experiencing this really divine, different qualities of divine energy or kundalini just pouring through. So it may start as a physical thing or this or that, but there's this whole healing that I don't understand and no one really understands because it's beyond our concepts. But for me, that is what truly heals the brain. And this movement of the glial cells, what really heals them is this spiritual content coming in, or the communication. Once this area opens and is breathing, once the glial cells start breathing, once the tentorium and all of these areas start breathing, become more alive, in that breathing accent, then there's more availability to the higher energies to come in, and then they really get to fulfill their potential as a portal to receive spiritual intelligence. And that is where we have to move to as a race before we destroy our planet. You know, we really have to move along spiritually so that we don't want to do all of this stuff we're doing. And for me, more and more, I work with that. And it was interesting to me. One, when I found out that nobody else was doing it and that I had channeled something new, I'm thinking, well, there's 6 billion people on this earth. Why me? You know, I'm nearly dead. Why has it chosen a nearly dead person to come through to? And there was obviously a job involved. I thought it would just go out, and that's not the way it's gone at all. It really has been a long journey of just putting it out and putting it out, and now it's time to go. But it's definitely a job to actually bring it through and ground it so that people can understand it and make it available, so when I've died, you know, it's still here and properly grounded and people can carry on with it. So why give that to a dying man? But the thing was, the bringing through of it was what was going to heal me. So there's a strong impetus for a dying man to get healthy, and it was that also helped me along the line with it. And I think I had made a choice that rather than die at that time and start a new life, I would start a new life without having to die, because everything I was doing before and the way that I was doing everything before just dropped away. I'm not a walk-in, I didn't become a different person, but I just shed my whole life, all my different friends, all the different things. They just dropped away or were taken away, and this whole new thing opened. So I think I probably would have died, but there was a specific thing where I was, you know, I just lay on the bed and said, I can't fight this disease, you know, take me. And I didn't want to die. I said, you know, I made a prayer. I said, look, I don't want to die, but because I didn't know it was Lyme's disease, I didn't know what it. I said, take me, and so that I can find out what this disease was. And I just dropped into my breathing. I let the illness take me. I let the tiredness take me, and very quickly the tiredness wasn't tiredness anymore. It was like the waves of death. I could feel it like death, and it come in waves, one wave and I'd come out the other, another. It kept on going till I came out the other side and it was as if I'd died, and there was these big, still, just benevolent beings there. And I stayed there for a while, and afterwards I came back. And I think it was that point that somehow I decided, well, I'm not going to die, or I got the job, or they connected with me, or whatever happened. I think that is where it's happened. Then for about 2 months my Kundalini went off. I was completely off my block. Coming down from that, I went to the dentist. He told me this was pulled back. So I started working on that. Blinding light comes through and holographic breathing starts. From dying of Lyme's disease, I start curing myself from Lyme's disease and start teaching this new way of breathing. I don't think that is isolated experiences. I think they were all coming together as one thing, as the end of one life and the start of a new. And in a way, I did go home, but I didn't have to lose my physical body. I think I just got a new imprint for a new life and just carried on. And I've had to fight tiredness and fatigue and illness all of the way. But however tired or ill I've been, there's one thing that I've always had inside. I've always been a fighter. I will always fight to the death. Do you know what I mean? I won't stop. So I think they saw that about me, that if they gave it to me, I would actually fight to bring it through. I had to do it. And I was seeing this lady for different, before I learned how to make the remedies myself. And I said to her, you see all of those people doing those incredible things, climbing Everest, doing these amazing physical things. And I said, well, someone with Lyme's disease, just climbing the stairs, you're getting the same achievement as somebody, a fit person, climbing Everest. It kind of takes that just to carry on your life. So I've got full empathy with anybody. And there's such a disheartening thing when your immune system cannot fight off illnesses, because the Lyme's disease undermines your immune system. So you can't fight off colds, you can't fight off infections, you have to do it another way. And it's a bit like your body's saying, I can't fight it off, I might as well be dead. If my body can't fight off illnesses, I might as well be dead. And it's very demoralizing. But just to keep going, and now more and more my body is strong. I fight off diseases. I've got more strength to teach. Doing hands-on work was quite tiring for me, but webinars, it gives me enough distance so I really let this spiritual energy just course through me. I can really let rip when I'm just able, and that I just love that channeling coming through me. I just love that every time. And I think that just healing me. And it isn't to stay alive anymore. I just realize the accomplishment in inner journeying and all of the things. Maybe I can't heal certain things, and maybe I can't heal certain organs physically, but I can work with and heal the karma behind that and teach other people how to do it, so that when I leave, if I come back, I don't have that same thing next time. So it isn't always to heal yourself before you die, or sometimes it's to heal the karma of what you're dying from, so you don't have to deal with it again. Because I'm not so sure that everything just gets 100% better. Because we're all going to die at some point. We're all going to have to embrace death at some point. And isn't it be nice to come to the end of that journey and just feel fulfilled that you've given what you've been able to give? So, you know, I will die. I can't imagine that I'm just, because before I was like a Tai Chi teacher, I was teaching, I don't know, 20, 15 classes, 2-hour classes a week, doing healing, doing keep fit. I was a tremendously healthy, vibrant person. And then to be nearly dead, I can't imagine, I don't feel it in myself that I'm going to get back to that kind of health. But I do feel it in myself that it's given me an impetus to use kind of my courage or my tenacity or my fight to be able to give this gift over to the world. So it's not just to try and get healthy for myself. So, yeah. Did that answer that one? Great.